Is intimacy anorexia narcissism? What's the difference? Well, that's our topic today. It's a good one. If you're living with either a narcissist or an intimacy anorexic, you're going to learn something today. If you are one of those, we hope you learn something. If you have yet to subscribe to our channel, please do, because we have so much information, hundreds of things that can help you. If you have a question, click the box. Is intimacy anorexia narcissism? Well, there are some things we need to talk about as far as comparing these two, but we need to know what each one is differently. But before we talk about that, let me say this. If you're living with a narcissist or an intimacy anorexic, and many of these are women that watch these videos, so guys, if you're living with one of these women, you are in pain as well. But if you're a woman living with a narcissist or an intimacy anorexic, you feel like an object, you feel alone, you feel gaslit, you feel confused, regardless if you're living with either or both. So as we delineate this stuff, it doesn't minimize your pain in any way. Feeling less than human, feeling less than wanted, feeling less than desired, feeling like you can't make somebody happy, on a treadmill to be loved. If you're living with either one of these, you would have those very strong feelings, and they're legit. And you're probably experiencing partner betrayal trauma because this relationship is not what they promised you. You are not the love of their life. You do not feel connected, close, or intimate in any way. And so you feel betrayed. I would definitely look up partnerbetrayaltrauma.org. We have lots of information there. We have a book called Partner Betrayal Trauma so that you can experience what other women have shared about their experiences and maybe start healing on your journey. So let's get into this. Let's talk about intimacy anorexia first, and then we'll get into the characteristics of narcissism. Real quickly, intimacy anorexia is the active withholding of spiritual, emotional, and sexual intimacy from your spouse or primary partner. The characteristics are real simple. They're too busy for you. They blame you for the problems in the relationship. Very rarely a sorry or I'm wrong. They withhold love, especially the way you like to be loved. They withhold praise. They withhold spiritually. They withhold sex either by not having it or by not being with you when they're having it. If you feel alone during sex, that would be the same experience. They have ongoing criticism of you that's ungrounded. They use anger or silence as a way to control you. They're unwilling or unable to share their feelings with you. Sometimes they control around money. But generally speaking, you are going to feel married and alone. And we have a whole book on that, the whole research on that. This is a real deal. If you're living with an intimacy anorexic and this is the first time you heard it, please go throughout our YouTube channels, learn about that, or go to intimacyanorexia.com. You are going to want help. If you're living with an intimacy anorexic, being married to one is traumatic all by itself. Now, let's talk about narcissism. Because so many people in our Married and Alone Facebook group, which you're welcome to be part of it if you're married to an intimacy anorexic, have talked about, is my husband a narcissist? He's so self-absorbed. I think he's a narcissist. I went online and I think he fits. Well, let's do that little criteria real quickly. A narcissist is someone who feels, very grandiose pretty much all the time. They want special treatment. They feel entitled. They have a fantasy of being super successful, even though their achievements don't match up to that. They're the one who's not been appreciated yet. They're unique. They want to hang around high status people or name drop all the time. They're looking for constant admiration, that they're wonderful, that they're great, that they're amazing, that they're intelligent, that just people don't see it, right? They are very entitled. They tend to exploit others. This is definitely characteristics of narcissism because they're kind of playing a game and they're moving chess pieces. So exploiting someone is a really common thing. I'll explain that in just a minute. There's no empathy. And this is where both people with intimacy anorexic and narcissists, they feel like they have an alignment because either way, they're not feeling heard, they're not feeling understood, they're not feeling that their pain really matters. With the narcissist, they're envious of others and believe others are envious of them on a regular basis. Everybody wants to be like them, okay? And they tend to be very arrogant. Now, one of the things that is a common thread between these two isn't on either list. It's in the video we call Unstuck, and it's the way their operating systems are the same. So there's two operating systems. Relational, which is most of you, especially if you're women, or you don't have an addiction or you're a healthy man, and that is that people have value. There are rules and there are consequences if you break the rules. Now, if you operate on those premises, that's your operating system. You're mostly relational. Now, either one of these people, intimacy anorexic and narcissist, operate on an object relationship paradigm or operating system. People have no value. There are no rules. I should not be accountable to any rules, and I should not have any consequences if I break any rules. Now, this is object relationship. All addicts tend to operate out of this way. Many personality disorders operate out of this way. So there's where the similar kind of sense and feeling, like this feels like it's disordered because it is abnormal. They're operating out of an object relationship way of relating, and you are suffering because of that. So in that way, they're the same. Now, where they're extremely different, and we have a whole video on this called Narcissism, Sex Addiction, Intimacy Anorexia. And I don't have time to get into all that I get into there. This is just to kind of whet your appetite to know that there is a difference and to be able to maybe navigate that or get more information. Because generally speaking, I don't like people being called narcissists unless they've gotten a psychological test. So if you think you or your spouse is a narcissist, go get a psychological test. Every city has psychologists that you do the MMPI or something like that, and they can tell you within a day or so if you are a narcissist.